What's up, guys? Welcome back to Cryptowise. My name is Marvin, and I am here with the one and only Milton. Milton is in the house, and we have an amazing episode today. Guys, girls, everybody, Cryptowise family, we are talking about the fastest growing cryptos. We're diving deep into the data, and we are looking at what chains, what projects have the most devs on them. How has that looked in 2023 versus 2022 versus 2021? We know that the trend lines, there is a direct correlation between developers on chain and the actual price impact. And so we're going to dive deep into which cryptos are growing the fastest. So you're going to want to watch this entire episode. We've got charts, we've got data, we've got Milton. What up, guys? All right. My friends, my family, please do us a big favor and subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button and click on that little bell. Milts, what do you think? Should we do rapid fire news to start our show?
We sure do. That's how we start every show now. Rapid fire crypto news. This is where Marvin and I, we go through our favorite articles of the day, what we're reading, what caught our attention. I don't know what Marvin picked. Marvin doesn't know what I picked. And we just go through it as quickly as possible to see what is the newest news in crypto.
You're damn right. And there might be some banter along the way. If you guys haven't noticed, we are back and we released a video, the Will Solana Survive? That was 3 days ago. So make sure to check that out on our channel.
Marv.
Yeah.
It was our 200th video.
200 video. Where's the clapping?
200 videos. So if you're new to Cryptowise, you think we're a new channel just because we hadn't done videos in a while. Not true. We've been around for a couple of years now, and we did 200 videos. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And on that, I'm going to jump right into my first news article since I'm in control of this joint. Elon Musk seeks to end $258 billion Dogecoin lawsuit here, Milt. Obviously, this has been big news, and I have a feeling you wanted to talk about this a little bit, but essentially, he has asked a U.S. judge on Friday to throw out $250 billion racketeering lawsuit accusing him of running a pyramid scheme to support the cryptocurrency Dogecoin, and, of course, Doge had a big pump because Elon, being Elon, decided to put Doge logo on the head of Twitter.
Well, Marv, yep, that is, you and I are thinking on the same wavelength here because that is my number one piece of news for the week, obviously.
Yes.
Dogecoin jumps more than 30% after Musk changes the Twitter logo to the image of a Shiba Inu. And here it is right here. Top of the screen here, you can see the little doggy there instead of the normal Twitter logo. It's still up there. It's been a couple of days now. Wow. And while we're on Twitter, we should tell people, make sure you find us and follow us on Twitter at Cryptowise Guys. It's been a bit of a journey for us on Twitter in that we had an original account that got suspended because people were copying us. We had a bunch of fake accounts. So we are now at Cryptowise Guys. Make sure you find us. But yeah, this is the news of the week.
Did Musk release, speaking of Musk, did he release us on Twitter, our original account? Has that been released?
No, not yet.
Wow.
Not yet.
Elon, if you're listening, please, man, we need our Twitter account back. Please.
Or we just gotta get people to follow us at Cryptowise Guys. This is our new. We got to embrace our new Twitter here. But this is, I don't know. I love living in a world where the richest man in the world buys a social media giant for $44 billion and then treats it like, I don't know, like some sort of joke. But this is the thing. You and I were talking about this. I've never owned Dogecoin.
No,
okay.
You haven't.
And I've always kind of, I've kind of shit on the meme coins last bull run, because I'm more of a research guy, a fundamentals guy. I'm really looking for things that have solid kind of use cases. But I said to you the other day, I was like, okay, I can't do it anymore. Next time Doge goes down and it's in the dumpster, I think I just got to buy a little bit of Doge because you just never know when Elon is going to pump it.
Well, you know me, Mr. D-Gen over here. I didn't buy Doge, but I bought Sheep Inu instead. And, of course, we got a little bit of a pump off that, but we didn't get anything
You cheaped out. You cheaped out.
I didn't cheap out. I took a higher risk play.
Yeah,
and
you
Doge
cheaped out. You went for the knockoff Doge.
Listen, we're in rapid fire here, so we're going to move right along to the next episode of The Richest Men in the World. CZ says current blockchain throughput cannot make Binance a hybrid exchange. It cannot, not yet, he says. There were some tweets back and forth from the community. Make sure the counterparty of the trade gets paid and no one else can scam the system, i.e. real-time settlements. Blockchain throughput is just not there yet. And CZ goes on to talk about the fact that we need more DEXs. We need more DEXs building out there. DEX volume is rising in 2023. Some interesting stats. We see a steady rise in DEX volume. Something else that I found very interesting in this article was looking at the actual volume on Uniswap. Uniswap recorded a volume of 71.6 billion in trading volume for March, which is 45% higher than Coinbase's 49 billion. Does that surprise you?
I was just actually looking at DEX volume this morning, Marv, because here's a little tease for people to keep watching to the end of this video. I'm going to be announcing the altcoin that I'm looking at. It's one we've never talked about on the channel yet.
Nope, first time.
So it might be part of the DEX family. We'll talk about it later. But I was looking at DEX volume because I was looking at this one particular altcoin. And later in the episode, I'm going to be talking about that altcoin specifically because it is on my watch list.
And we will find out if the Milt or the Marv will be buying that altcoin. All right, rapid fire, off to you.
All right, number 2 for me is one of my favorite people in crypto. He's really only in Bitcoin, but that is Mr. Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy. This is hot off the presses. MicroStrategy adds another 1,045 Bitcoin to its growing crypto treasury. So that's 29.3 million in Bitcoin. It takes their total holdings to 140,000 Bitcoin, worth over $12 billion. And we know that in the last bull run, MicroStrategy buying Bitcoin really kind of was the start of the last bull run. Right at the beginning, that idea of MicroStrategy's buying Bitcoin, were other institutions going to do it? Tesla did it. But I love anytime Michael Saylor buys Bitcoin, to me, it's great news. I love seeing it. And then here's a little tip for anyone in crypto, because crypto goes up and down. It's crazy, the emotions. You can get really down in the dumps, especially during crypto winter. I go back and I listen to Michael Saylor talk about Bitcoin. It just makes me feel better about the whole thing.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that 100%.
He's just so good at articulating why he thinks Bitcoin is the best investment by far. And for me, I extend it to some other altcoins and other crypto. He doesn't, but to me, the philosophy is still the same. And so anytime I listen to interviews with him, it makes me feel so much better.
Milton is a Bitcoin maxi. What do you got to say? I know you are, my friend, but I really appreciate him too. Next up, blockchain messaging protocol Layer 0. Talking about money coming into the market, we're seeing this. This gets me excited. When I see private venture capital start coming in like this, I get excited. Blockchain messaging protocol Layer 0 raises $120 million, is hitting a $3 billion valuation. Now, Layer 0 Labs, a Web3 messaging protocol, has closed $120 million Series B round, raising his valuation to $3 billion from $1 billion, the company said on Tuesday. Unlike Web 2.0 messaging platforms like WhatsApp and Telegram, this messaging protocol lets users use different types of messages between blockchains, like cross-chain interactions, eliminating the need for intermediaries. Now, something that's interesting as you dive deep into this was who participated. It had 33 investors, including Circle Ventures. We have Samsung in here. We have Christie's, the auction house. Bond was in here, and as well as what did I see? I saw OpenSea as well participated in here. So very, very interesting stuff happening with Layer 0. Something to keep an eye on.
Very interesting. And yeah, it is good to see some venture capital coming back in, because obviously a lot of those venture funds collapsed.
That's right.
At the beginning of the...
Thank you, Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah, thanks. As Three Arrows Capital, Terra... a lot of funds collapsed after Terra collapsed. So it's good to see some money coming back into crypto. And Layer 0 is obviously on the list of people to watch out for airdrops. So have that on your list of potential airdrops coming up. All right, my last piece of news here is about Arbitrum. We know that the last big airdrop was Arbitrum, which is a Layer 2 built for Ethereum. I don't know did you keep up with this news here, Marv? So they did the airdrop, and Arbitrum, the token, the ARB token, is really just a governance token. It really has no use on the chain except for governance. And yet the first thing they voted on was, to send, it was a proposal to fund the Arbitrum Foundation with 750 million ARB tokens, so nearly $1 billion worth. But then what people found out was actually they had already made the decision. The people who control Arbitrum had made the decision. This was just really to ratify it, or it was really just, that people weren't actually getting to vote on the decision. The decision hadn't been made. 50 million had already been spent, some of it being turned into fiat already. Wow. So this really brings up a huge question about layer 2s in general. They're very centralized. They have to kind of right now, the model of them has to be centralized. That's how they're kind of working right now. Now, of course, they're built on the decentralized Ethereum, blockchain. So this was one of the very big questions in the last bull run. Are people going to finally care if something is actually decentralized or not?
Well, it's interesting because you and I were talking about this actually earlier in the week about Polkadot and Kusama and some of the voting that's going on there and taking advantage of some of the treasury there with the votes because it is completely decentralized.
Yeah, they're moving to a completely decentralized governance model, very different than anything else so far, and they're having some challenges.
There's pros
with
and cons, right? But I think in the long term, like we had talked about, for me, in the long term, the value of full decentralization is huge. And so if they can work through, which I believe they can, the communities tend to always do that. They're weeding out the bad apples, trying to take advantage of the treasury. I was diving into that yesterday. I think fully decentralized is the way to go. The bubbles, my favorite, crypto bubbles.
I agree with you. Long term, I'm really moving towards trying to find that real decentralization. That's one of the things you and I love about DOT. One of the things I loved about it from the very beginning was they had imagined real decentralization from the very beginning and are kind of moving towards that. I think in the last bull run, really, other than Bitcoin and Ethereum, I don't think anything was really decentralized.
No, it's true.
You had, but a lot of them pumped. So are we in this next bull run? Is it going to matter or not? Up in the air. I think it's going to matter a little bit more, but probably it's not for another 4-6 years before people really, really expect their layer 1s or layer 2s to be decentralized.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree completely.
All right, well, that's the rapid fire crypto
I love crypto
news
bubbles,
for the day.
by the way. For anyone that's not already using crypto bubbles, such a great way to keep an eye on the ups and downs of the day. What's trading up, what's trading down.
Oh, such a great site. Whoever runs this site, thank you so much because it's a great tool for crypto. All right, so Marv.
Yes, sir.
We're on to the meat of the show today. Well, what's the big topic today? What are we talking about here?
We are talking about the most important thing. One of the most important indicators in my mind is the amount of developers on each of these projects within the space, and looking at the increase or decrease of development movement on the projects and coins that we're looking at. It's a huge indicator as to what's happening and what's not happening. And there's a lot of data out there, but it takes a lot of time to dive through it all. So we want to take a look at what coins that we think have the most movement and the most action, and
from a developer activity standpoint.
Specifically from the developer activity standpoint.
I think this is a great topic. I'm really excited about this, especially in a bear market, because you get to see who's actually working when prices are down, who's actually building long term, versus, people trying to make a quick buck, and you see people trying to build things really quick just because the market's really hot. Here we get to see, okay, where are the developers going? Where have they been? And you and I found this exact same article.
Well, because the interesting thing is there is a direct correlation between the amount of developers and the actual price.
Yeah, right? Of course, 100%. I mean, why? First of all, if you are investing in crypto like we are, I hope you're not investing it because people like Marv and I who talk about it. Well, the reason to invest in crypto, number one, where are the smart people going?
This is not financial advice.
Engineers,
right.
Where the computer engineers, where are they going? The software developers. And that is what attracted me to crypto originally. You're just seeing all these really smart people gravitate towards this new technology, And you're like, okay, well, long term, this is good. They are going to turn this into something. The people who wake up every day and they're like, we're building on this because we believe in the technology. That's where schmucks like you and I can come in and try to make some money off of it.
Well, I wouldn't consider myself a schmuck, but yes, you're right. And by the way, this is not financial advice. Nothing that we say here is financial advice.
Oh, God, no. No, not even close. All right, well, let's go through this. So this is an article here on Chain Debrief. This is a great article. It goes through most of what this is talking about is 2022, which we know was a huge down year for crypto, 2022. But this talks about the developer count. It really looks at the data over the last year of most of these numbers are from 2022. So do you want to slowly go through this and we can talk?
Yeah, I think we should break it down. Let's look at it because it's a great article.
All right, great. So it says crypto investors looking for the next big thing now have another metric to consider as they decide where to put their money apart from TVL, total value locked, and why does the developer count matter? The number of developers actively working on a blockchain gives a picture of which blockchain has the strongest potential. Developers are the supply to the grand scheme of crypto, while the demand is driven by retail users. So that's what Marv and I were talking about. And then it says the overview of Web3. Okay, this is really interesting. There are now 23,343 monthly active developers in crypto. And we see this first chart here. Do you want to show this?
I've got it.
Okay, great. I think you're on a different chart than the one I'm talking about.
Sorry,
yeah, there we go. So you see this is the chart, monthly active developers in crypto from 2010 to 2022. And you just see, I mean, you can just see it going straight up essentially. And this is for any sort of new technology or whatever, when you see that kind of activity, just kind of exponential growth, that's what you want to look at there. And then we see the next chart is the highest number of new developers ever wrote open source crypto code in 2022. Over 61,000 developers wrote open source crypto code. New developers, sorry. So this is kind of the kind of point of this article was to say that in 2022, crypto went down by, price-wise, went down by 71%.
This is a great chart because this shows you in the blue, this is the developer increase line, right? So
yeah,
we've got the developers in blue, and then you've got the network value in gray, and you can see a direct correlation between the increase in developers and the price itself.
Yeah. So 71% reduction in crypto value.
But only 11% on the developer side, which is
the
fascinating.
Whole point. Yeah. So the value of crypto went down in 2022 by 71%. The developer count only went down 11%. So developers are staying in this space, and there were record number of developers came in the last bull run, and most of them are staying in the space through this bear run.
I'd like to see a chart that shows how many of those developers stayed and thought they were getting paid, only to realize 6 months later there was no money left in the treasury to pay them.
The great thing is, if you have this skill, if you're out there and you're a coder working kind of in Web 2, honestly, look at Web 3, because the great thing is, if you don't get paid by one, you can just move over to a healthy chain and get paid by them, because there is such a demand for developers in this space. It is crazy how much demand there is. And I have another article up here. This was in March. Decrypt came out with this article. Demand for blockchain devs is soaring, but not just in crypto. So what you're even seeing is now crypto is competing with traditional finance and gaming and all these other industries for the crypto developers. So learning a crypto language like Solidity or Substrate or Rust, any of these blockchain languages, I mean, you're set. You're set for a job.
What are you learning these days, Mil?
Never mind. All right, so let's look at some of the numbers here for particular chains. All right, so
interesting on Ethereum. Now, mind you, this is 2022, right? 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
It doesn't show 23, but we do have some data on that we can show after. But according to this chart, Ethereum is 2.8 times larger than Polkadot and Solana and Cosmos, essentially, the rat pack just behind them in 2022.
Yeah, so all developers in crypto from this time, at least, which this was 2022, 28% of developers were in Ethereum, and 50% of developers were working on the top 20 ecosystems. But we see here, you see all the kind of the regular names here. You've got Ethereum way in the lead, but then you have our beloved Polkadot, which always comes in, around the top behind Ethereum. Then you've got Solana, you got Cosmos, Polygon, and we're going to go through. So we're just kind of going through here 2022, and then we're going to talk about, okay, what's happening most recently, because that's what we really want to talk about.
That's what we want to know. But at the same time, looking back at this, it's fascinating because it just reassures me that Polkadot is the #1 sleeping giant in all of this. Because if you look at the actual price impact and the movement in some of these projects, of course, Solana and Cosmos and Ethereum, that took place comparably against DOT in the last bull. DOT's been this little sleeping giant that's continuously growing. And when we look at the indicator of devs, unbelievably huge amount focused on DOT.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and we're going to talk more about that. I mean, you can't talk about developer activity in crypto without talking about DOT, which is one of the reasons why you and I have loved it for so long.
Yes.
So, this article goes through and it talks about all these chains: Ethereum, Polygon, Cosmos, Polkadot, and it just talks about really how 2022 saw a record number of new developers coming into crypto. And again, the point is most of them have stayed. So 2022 was coming off of that 2021 bull run. Obviously, a lot of people were kind of learning about crypto for the first time. You see a lot of these developers come in last year in a very down year, and a lot of them are staying now in crypto. All right, so let's talk about more recently what's been going on. And this is where Polkadot shines even brighter. So a lot of new data was just kind of talked about a lot in the industry. A lot of people are starting to take notice of developer activity. So this is the developer performance. This is a chart for developer performance in Q1 of 2023. And we see here Polkadot, the difference between 2022 and 23, they're over 40% more developers working in Polkadot.
Wow.
They are #1.
You like that?
I love that.
I timed that pretty well.
And then you got Cosmos coming in at #2, 36%. Not bad. Optimism, 35%. Avalanche, 28%. Sui, 28%. Ethereum down to 21%.
Interestingly, Solana down there at 20% still.
Yeah, because you and I, we talked about Solana a lot last time, and that's a 20%. These percentages are increase of developer activity from 2022 to 2023.
I'm a bit surprised.
They are up 20%. Yeah, and then you've got Aptos at 8% and Cardano down at 5%.
Cardano, surprisingly, at the bottom of the list.
Yeah, and then if we want to look at another stat, which kind of reinforces this is code commits in the last 7 days.
Wow.
So if we see the last 7 days, the most code commits, again, Polkadot's #1, but here we have Cardano at #2.
Can you explain what a code commit is to everybody?
So anytime a change happens to the code in a repository, that developer will commit that change up to the code, so this is basically change to the code, how much changes have happened in the last week. And so this is a way to kind of another way to measure the activity of developers on a chain.
Polkadot huge. Cardano #2.
Cardano #2 this week.
Wow, it's making a comeback this week.
Then you've got Ethereum, we got Optimism, Cosmos, Solana, Avalanche, Near Protocol. Near does actually really well on a lot of these charts comparative to its size.
Near's a significant project that we need to focus on a little bit more and dig deeper on, because I am very, 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 very tempted to make a move into Near here very soon.
I agree with you. Yeah, we're going to be talking more about Near and looking at it a lot more for sure. Arbitrum comes in #9, Aptos 10, Polygon, Algorand.
Yeah.
I still have a little bag of Algorand,
Of course
so
you do.
they're kind of kicking around.
Milt's got a bag of anything he's ever touched.
The Tron DAO. Tron, is an interesting project that I never looked at. It's a bit of like the Ripple, in the early, that kind of first bull cycle that I was part of. It was one of the ones that I just never got into. Maybe worth having a second look at Tron and Ripple this time through.
Yeah.
BNB chain, only 12 commits. And then down here at 15, you've got Fantom, only 4 commits in the last 7 days, compared to Polkadot's 485.
Wow.
Now, the thing to remember with Polkadot and Cosmos is because they are a lot of different blockchains into interoperable blockchains, it's hard to know how people are collecting the data.
Right.
Sometimes they're collecting it only for the Polkadot relay chain. Other times they're actually collecting all the different blockchain activity and putting it together. So those two are a little bit different. And we're going to talk more about a Cosmos chain coming up because, hint, hint, that might be something I might be looking at. But here's another article. Polkadot surges 10% in a week amid increase in developer activity. I've noticed a lot more people talking about developer activity on the chain, which is great. Because this is a metric people should be paying attention to. So this is another little article about the same thing, and it's talking about active developers. This one, again, was from the end of March, so this was from last week. This one breaks it up a little bit differently, but it has kind of all the same names here. Now, this one has Kusama up actually second to Polkadot. Now, a lot of the changes happen simultaneously on those chains. It'll be the same. Something happens on Kusama, and then it happens on Polkadot. But this one kind of breaks down into it talks about some of the smaller chains. It talks about kind of the correlation between VC money coming in and active developers, because obviously the more money you have, you more money to pay developers. That's something that just to touch upon here for me, which also, you and I talk about DOT so much because we love it so much. It didn't really pump last bull run. I really believe that this next bull run is going to be DOT's day. Yeah. But one of the things I want to talk about about developers is this is the thing. I like watching, when the VC funds start being spent, have you done things to keep the developers on your chain? Right. So, like something that is post-hype like DOT now, DOT it's not attracting new developers because of new VC money coming in and they're spending it. It's actually built, a framework that developers want to work on. So to me, that's an important distinction. A huge distinction. But if we go through down here, they talk about some of the smaller dApps and chains in this article. So Chainlink had 7% increase over the past month in... But it's not just VC cash, right? Like most of them are reinvesting into dev programs to incentivize devs, the Web3 Foundation and all the other things that have these incentivized programs to bring people in to build on them. Yeah, I think it's a great strategy. Obviously, if a chain is new, like we're watching Arbitrum and all these new layer 2s, this is what it's going to be. They're going to go from that model of we've got VC money, we're creating a treasury, which is, what that Arbitrum article was all about. And they're going to start giving out grants. But then you're like, okay, did that create traction, or are all those people just going to flee to the next chain? We saw that happen the last bull run. We saw a lot of Fantom, Avalanche. Yep. You basically just saw the money move from one chain to the other when that grant money just kind of dried up. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Now, everybody's been sitting on the edge of their seat here, Milt, since you threw a teaser out at the beginning of the show. Yeah. And by the way, guys, if you like us, if you don't like us, if you appreciate us, if you like my voice and don't like Milt, whatever it is, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, please. We really appreciate you guys, and click on that little bell to get real-time alerts when we drop in. You were talking about a project that you're focusing some attention on. I am. That we should be looking at. We got to talk about this because, so I was going through all these articles about developers, looking at all the analytics about developers, and this one article mentions them, but their name came up a lot, and it's connected to Cosmos. Because like Polkadot, Cosmos is, it's a kind of a tech stack that you can build your own blockchain with. And it's considered, if you build with the Cosmos technology, you're kind of considered part of Cosmos. So again, it's hard to know, okay, if you see a lot of activity on Cosmos, is that the Cosmos hub? Or does it include all these other blockchains that have built with the Cosmos tech, but are their own blockchain? One of them that keeps coming up in terms of developer activity, Osmosis. So here in this article it says Osmosis was the second most popular dApp for developers according to the research. Lido was number one, I believe. But Osmosis went up. I had it here. It was 83 or 84% in the last little while in terms of activity. And I had been watching Osmosis last, because I did watch Cosmos a lot during the last bull run, and Osmosis was one of those projects that I watched, but I never went in on. I had the only Cosmos I owned really last time, I owned, a lot of Sif Chain. That didn't really work out for me, but and Atom. I kind of chose Sif Chain, which ended up not being the best decision in the world.
No, but it's not over yet.
Osmosis essentially is a DEX. It's a decentralized exchange. And so you were talking about DEX activity earlier on the show, and Uniswap obviously is by far number one. Osmosis is the biggest DEX kind of built on the Cosmos tech. And it really is an interesting project to me in that it has survived one of the biggest kind of body blows that any crypto could survive, which was the death of Terra Luna. Because obviously Terra was a blockchain built on Cosmos tech. It was a Cosmos. So most of the liquidity in Osmosis was Terra or UST. And they lost, a ton. When Terra went down, it was a huge body blow for Osmosis. And you can look at the chart now. I'm looking at the max chart here.
It looks like their all-time high was, $11 or something?
Yeah, just under like 1050-ish. And now it's down at 78 cents. It's kind of like, it crashed. And
market
it's kind
cap
of
still under $500 million.
Been there, but the actual volume on their decks every day is still over 7 million. I really like the team behind it. There's a great article here on Crypto Briefing, a great interview with Sunny Agarwal, who's one of the co-founders. Now this is from October, but a really great article if anyone's interested in learning more about Osmosis. I don't know. I'm just going to start watching now. I'm not buying them yet, but their TVL is still over 170 million. Now it's down. Their top TVL was at 1.72 billion at the top.
Yeah,
end.
Sure. But
you have other protocols building on Osmosis. You got Mars Protocol, which is really interesting, which is building on Osmosis. I'm just wondering, okay, for me, if I want exposure to Cosmos this next bull run, what protocol am I going to look at? Am I just going to get Atom tokens, or am I looking at something like Osmosis? Right now, I'm looking seriously at Osmosis.
I think you got to add Osmo to the Buydar. I think it's on the Buydar now, and I think it's a project we've got to maintain and follow very, very closely. It's got a very interesting chart. I agree with you on everything that you're saying. It's got a lot of potential.
So here's this one of the articles I came across. Osmosis overtakes Uniswap in active developer count.
Wow.
So even though Uniswap has way more volume, obviously,
hugely,
way more TVL, Osmosis has more developers actively working on it right now in this bear market after really it could have been killed after the Terra Luna collapse.
That's huge.
And if you want to have just a peek here at the DEXs, speaking of the DEX volume here, this is the DeFi Llama chart here. So here's your Uniswap. Their 24-hour volume on Uniswap is 1.4 billion. The next highest is PancakeSwap at 150 million approximately. So Uniswap is still...
I still remember the day Uniswap came out. I remember the day Pancake came out. And looking at Pancake the day that it came out, it looked like it was a joke, right? It was like, is this real? Can this be trusted? Now they've got version 3, and look at it, number 2, unbelievable.
But look at the difference between Uniswap and PancakeSwap. Still, that's still huge. 1.4 billion versus 150 million.
Yeah, but you know what? Uniswap had a head start. Pancake started on BNB. It's now on ETH and BNB. it's still early. I mean, Pancake's got a lot of share and it's growing.
I agree. So we look down on this list, and Osmosis is number 22 right now. Just over 7 million, just under 8 million really in daily volume. So anyway, it's one I got it on my Buydar.
We got to keep it on the Buydar. We got to keep watching it because that's an interesting one, and we'll let everyone know if we FOMO into that.
Yeah, because I do like Cosmo. I mean, you and I are huge
dot
people.
No.
And there's always this huge argument, and I think this would be a good episode to come up, is Cosmos versus Dot. Let's get to the bottom of what the differences are, and especially on the tech, because you get some people who really argue that Cosmos's tech is way better than Dot. Right. I would argue the opposite, but we should really have that conversation.
We should have that conversation.
Want to have,
but I also don't think it's a one or the other, right? I think a healthy portfolio will have exposure to both.
I agree, and that's why I'm looking at Osmosis very seriously. I think we're going to we'll tell our crypto-wisers if we end up buying it, but it's one I'm looking for for the portfolio.
We told you guys that we would be back, that the channel is coming back, and it sure is, because this is video number 2 in just 4 days, and we will continue to bring you guys the latest and greatest in crypto here at Cryptowise. Please, guys, we love you. Love us back by smashing the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click on that little bell. Milton, as always, my friend, I had a blast.
Me too, Marv. Until next time.
Until next time, my friends. Thank you so much.